Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's High Value Publishing session. My name is Eric Schoenfeld. I'm the founding partner of Nearview Media, and I'm thrilled you can join us here today. I'm very excited about this session that we're going to do today. It's kind of a new series that we're going to try here, see how you like it. It's called basically Fix My Website. I was going to call it Fix My Magazine Website, but we have a lot of newspaper folks who follow us. We have a lot of digital-only folks who follow us as well. So we're just going to fix my publishing website, if you would. And we're going to go through and we're going to look at two websites today. One is a city and regional magazine, Los Angeles Magazine. Another one is a B2B trade journal, Pharmaceuticals World. So we're going to look at both those sites, kind of go through and do an analysis. You're going to see a little bit of an insight of kind of what I do when I first look at a website. We're not going to be able to get through everything. We have a checklist. It's actually a couple thousand items long. But hopefully through doing this, you're going to learn some things, learn what these publications are doing well, what they can improve on, and get some lessons that we could all apply to our own sites as we go forward and try to grow our business. Before we dive in, though, a little housekeeping as always. This session is being recorded. We always record them. It will be available this Thursday on YouTube, on our website, and as our podcast. So all past sessions you can find at nearviewmedia.com. Any links we talk about in here, and there's going to be a lot of them today. I'm going to talk about a lot of different tools. We'll make those available when we post this recording to the website. So you can just go check out the archive then and get all the links that we're talking about here today. As I mentioned, this is available as a podcast. Hey, would you do me a favor? If you're subscribing to High Value Publishing on any platform, Apple, Google, Spotify, would you go out and leave a review for us? I'd really appreciate that. I still think we're the number 3 marketing podcast in Lithuania, which is awesome, but I'd like to become number 1 in Lithuania and start rising up the ranks here in the United States as well, if you wouldn't mind. I'm actually not doing this to try to get the highest rankings. It's just, if you would leave a review, that'd be awesome. If you've got any questions today, please feel free to post them in the live chat. I will be monitoring that here as well. Or observations. Say, hey, Eric, what about this? Did you notice this? Please post those. I love hearing from you all about this. If you're watching this on demand, just go to nearviewmedia.com and you can leave us a comment there or ask a question and contact us right there. I did want to thank kind of 2 of our distribution partners, What's New in Publishing and Niche Media. They both take all of our episodes and distribute it to their audiences. We have a few others who are doing this as well. So you may find us in the CRMA newsletter, in the AABP newsletter. So really appreciate that. These are all available for free for anybody who wants to watch them. So really appreciate you doing that. I want to dive in here and start looking at some sites. So let's talk about Los Angeles Magazine. I'm not picking any of these sites here. Literally, these are a couple of sites that people have written into me about, hey, would you check out my site? Hey, would you check out my site? If you'd like to have me review your site or another site out there, it doesn't have to be your site, on one of these sessions, fire it in. Send me an email to eric@nearviewmedia.com. Go to our website. You can send it up there. But fire me off. Let me know, hey, would you do one of these on Fix My Website? And we can go through and we can do the same analysis for those if you guys like these kinds of sessions. So I'm going to dive in here on LA Mag. We're going to be looking at this from a couple different methods. I have a bunch of tools up here, but I think the first thing I want to do whenever I look at a site is I want to look at it how the end user would see it. So we're going to look at this at both desktop and on mobile. To do this well, though, I'm going to take the URL and we're going to do it into an incognito window as if we've never been to the site before. So let's go out to lamag.com, which is a great publication, by the way. I love the publication. Okay, so let's talk about some initial things here. Right away, I have to say I'm probably 95% confident they're using what's called the newspaper theme by TagDiv, just from the look of the site in general. We have your typical cookie warning. Oh, we also have an exit pop. I must have moved my mouse slightly up into the nav bar area up here. This is an exit pop that is, looks like this one's coming from HubSpot. I can tell you just by the look of it, it's coming from HubSpot. And so the one thing I is a little bit of a bummer with the HubSpot interstitials like this, these pop-up modals, is that it's a two-step process. You can do this, but you can't put the form here. You have to actually click send me the brief, and then you can put your email in here. Let's just go ahead and do that. And you can submit. I like these interstitial pops. I know a lot of people don't, a lot of editors don't. It's fine. A lot of people in general don't. But they are very effective, and they're going to be one of your biggest sources for driving new email subscribers. So I'm glad to see this here. I'll tell you, though, I have a little different format. Rather than exit pop, which only works on desktop, by the way, does not work on a mobile device. I prefer to see these modal pop-ups trigger when someone scrolls 30% of the way down the page. I think that's a better solution. Okay, success. You receive your first newsletter soon. Close. All right, we're missing an opportunity here. So when I close this out, okay, we signed them up, but we're missing an opportunity here, especially since Los Angeles Magazine is a paid magazine. What I always like to do or actually it's true for paid or free magazines, controlled, is when someone submits their email, I always want to redirect them to a kind of a thank you confirmation page. And on that thank you confirmation page, people do this in a different session. We talk about, hey, great, you're signed up. Here's two things that you want to do. Number one, you want to whitelist us. All of our emails come from this email address. Make sure that you add us to your address book or you drag us to the inbox on Gmail, but somehow whitelist us so that you're always getting our emails. This is an important reminder to people they just signed up for your emails. And then the second step, if you're a controlled publication and you're wanting people to qualify, I actually would put then the qualification form or a link to the form right there and tell people, hey, wait, there's more. You're getting the newsletter, but there's a lot more here, especially if you're a paid circulation publication. This is really important. This is your opportunity to set the expectation. This is a paid publication. There's a lot more you're going to get here if you actually subscribe to the magazine rather than just sign up for the newsletter. That's a whole session we can go into on a different date. But again, to me, it's a missed opportunity. I don't expect to see a lot of conversions off of that, but I do see it setting the mindset right out of the gate that there's more to this. Hey, Frank just wrote in and says, if you can at all embed the form in a pop-up overlay, suggest you do so. Yes, I 100% agree. If you notice when this came up, I had to click to get to the form. I like it better where the form itself is actually embedded in the pop-up. And again, we may do a whole session on some, fundamental email collection tactics, but I wanted to mention that as I was here. Okay, I want to bring up something else here, and it's not as big of a deal on desktop, but when I show you this side on mobile, it's a bigger deal. All right, so we've got a cookie notification up here. Okay, nice, great for GDPR. We're in Los Angeles. We got to deal with some COPPA regulations, not COPPA, but CalAPA, the California privacy implementations. So I've got to click my accept on that. Then I had that other pop-up come up. Then I have an ad popping up. And then I have a subscription pop-up. So it's pop-up palooza right now when I first come to Los Angeles Magazine. Now, again, on desktop, it's not as big of a deal. But I'm going to switch over to mobile here for a second. And I'm going to bring up, I cleared out all my cookies on this so you wouldn't see anything. But let's go to lamag.com. And I want you to see what the user experience is like here. All right. So first of all, my cookie notification takes up almost half of the visible screen. Okay, maybe a necessary evil in some circumstances. By the way, especially for regional publishers, we don't really need to have that. But I want you to take a look at this here. I've got a cookie notification here. I've got an ad popping down here, and then I've got a subscription promotion here. The only place on the screen right now where I'm seeing any actual content is this little sliver right here. There's better ways to do this. We need to look at how can we better do our pop-ups, do the ads, especially any kind of pop-up. How can we better do this to not interfere with this? So I'm going to go ahead and accept that. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to close this out. And now I can finally look at the content now that I've gotten past all the pop-ups. Kathy says, HubSpot says you don't want to set the hook so early. He suggests you start a drip campaign and gently nudge people into becoming paid subscribers. Kathy, I 100% agree. We're going back to the email thing. I 100% agree that you're not going to get a lot of conversions on that initial email thank you page. I also agree on the initial welcome email, you're not going to get a lot of conversions. However, I always want to let people know. I want to set the stage. I'm not expecting a lot of conversions, but I want to set that mental mindset. So I know what HubSpot's saying. The idea is you want to be a content friend. You don't want to hit them with a sales pitch. If you do it the right way, it doesn't have to be an obtrusive deal. It doesn't have to make people feel a bait and switch. But you are setting that mindset so that when you actually do go down your drip sequence, you actually have better conversion rates than had you not set that expectation at the very beginning. It's especially important for paid publications. But I do appreciate the feedback. And yes, I know HubSpot does promote that as a tactic. Anyway, let's go back in here and we're going to kind of go back and forth between the mobile view and the desktop view here. So let's pop this up. I'll make this a little bit larger so we can see it a little bit easier here. There we go. All right. So as we're coming down in here, let's go at just from a content perspective. All right. I love the idea. It looks like they just published a new story over here. Let me see here. Yep, they did. So I got to refresh this. So we got Emma Chamberlain's story is new. Now we're looking at similar content. All right. So we got Los Angeles Magazine. We have a 728 by 90. Nice. I'm actually a bigger fan of the 970 by 250s, the big billboards that you see out there over the 728 by 90s. But this isn't bad. Again, it's much more compact. But I think if you look at some other very popular sites, that 970 by 250 from an ad sales perspective has just so much more intrinsic value to an advertiser than a 720 by 90 ad does. So just a thought there. Let's pop on down here. We've got some nav items here. I'm not going to go too much into the UI, but here's, I guess, the featured stories. I'm not sure if they're the latest stories, but the featured stories. As I'm coming down in here, so I'm seeing these 5 stories, then I'm seeing this story, then I'm seeing these stories here again. Okay, so one of the things, if LA Mag is using the newspaper theme, one of the things you can do on a page is set up where it's non-repetitive content. In other words, if a story shows up in this block up here, it won't show up again down in this block here. My guess is that these are featured stories, and this is all the latest stories. But again, we like these 3 stories here are the first 3 stories here. It's kind of wasted space, wasted opportunity. I would make sure you turn that on and get rid of the duplication of content here. And that way you can bring stuff out, but the idea is I want to get as much content as possible in front of the end user. A lot of sidebar stuff going on here. I do like this very, very long list of content, but you'll see more and more publishers are kind of getting away from this. Okay, look over here for this kind of content, look over here for this kind of content, look down here for this content, look over here for this kind of content. And they're getting into this kind of content stream, much like you see on social media platforms, right? If I'm going through TikTok, or if I'm going through Facebook, or if I'm going through Instagram and I've got a call coming in, if I'm doing any of those things, you'll see that it's literally just a scroll. You just want to keep on scrolling, keep on scrolling, keep on scrolling. One of the things I will point out here, and again, this is probably a design decision, this load more, this is definitely tag div. When you click this, it does load more stories. I'll tell you what though, I would actually rather see that go to a secondary page, going to a blog, page 2, the next 10 stories. Why? It's another page view, and you can reload all the ads, you get more on. So I'd rather see that than see us be able to continue to expand this ad infinitum here. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sponsored content. Okay, this is good. I like that we have a partner section down here. And again, I'm not sure. I haven't analyzed their media kits. But one of the things that I am seeing more and more companies do is they're integrating sponsored content into the flow of the actual main stories. So this might be, this is a news and politics, news, daily brief, news, celebrity, sponsored content, entertainment industry, crime, celebrity, sponsored content. Not that those are fixed positions, but they literally, that's when you published them. And they may indeed do that. And then this may be a separate section to bring that out so that once they go off the feed, if you would, they're still showing up. But I'll throw that out here. I'm glad to see good use of sponsored content. I'm a big fan of this. Little note here from our partners. I like that because it's not as in your face as sponsored content. This does just say sponsored. I would change it to be partner content. Partner content. Something about the partner word. I know I might be mixing words here, but there's something about that when you're going to sell this kind of stuff, just resonates more with advertisers. Okay, I keep having to close this ad down here. That's okay. I'm not a big favor of pop ads like that. I'm more in favor of embedded ads on the actual page, but that's okay. So then we have these sections down here. So we have food and drink, culture, news and city, life and style. Okay, marketplace. I love this. This is a great use of partner ads and of probably, I think, affiliate. I would be willing to bet here. If not affiliate, then at least sponsored content. So good stuff down here. These sections down here, maybe they're just bubbling out more content, but I'm like the Motley Crue story. I think I saw that up here. If I look at other stories down here, this is another one of those, we have different sections in the magazine. It's fine, be at the bottom of the page. Frankly, when we do heat map analysis of pages, we don't see people get this far down the page. They're more interested in, hey, I just want to keep up with what's new. I want to keep coming back to your site, see what's new. All right, let's take a look at mobile. Mobile over here, looking at the nav bar. Whoops, I guess I got to do this on my actual phone, would be better. Okay. So good pop with this. The one thing I do see, and I see this a lot on mobile menus versus this, a lot of your more important business things, your subscribe, your advertise, your contact us, usually don't make it into the navigation menu over here. So maybe underneath magazine though. Yeah, because you've got subscribe there. Oh, there's my pop. That's good. Let me squeeze this back down. Okay, so you've got a lot of that stuff here underneath the magazine, so that's fine. That's no big deal. Anyway, bringing that down in here, looks good. Navigation looks good. This is definitely a newspaper theme. Popping down in, here's these stories. I bet if I were to refresh this now, I'd see the Attorney General story. Yep, there we go. And then these are kind of like scrolled out that way versus here, fine. This looks like a 320 by 60 ad. Just as a little FYI, I'm not a big giant fan of the quote unquote mobile size ads. I'd rather see us use 300 by 250 ads. They are much more attractive to advertisers. They are much more convenient. You're dealing with things like cumulative layout shift. You can have different pages. I'll get to that here in a minute. Anyway, some things on that. And then we go down here, same stuff. I got the player, I got all the latest stuff down here, which is fine. The load more, we got the partner content. Good. I want you to notice on mobile, because it's a city and regional magazine, I'd be willing to bet that well over 60%, if not closer to 70% of your visitors are actually coming from mobile devices rather than desktop devices. Just to be blunt, sidebars don't work great on mobile devices because a sidebar just drops the bottom. As a matter of fact, if you look here, we'll look for this, follow us. There we go. See, this is dropped way down the bottom of the page. Way down the bottom of the page. But then you're doing a good job of putting this section of food and drink and that. So not bad. You're doing the best you can. Again, I'd rather, when I look at this on mobile, I always want to analyze it on mobile. Again, a nice big giant ad I've got to close to actually see anything. Again, it does get the attention of people, but you've got to weigh the amount of interruptions. Look how much space there is here where there's no embedded ads. I'd rather see an occasional embedded 300 by 250 ad after every fourth post or so here than to see this pop-up ad come up at the bottom. It just works better for your readers. It works better for your advertisers on that. And again, take a look at the size of this versus the size of the fonts here. These are just huge. So just some things to modify. I will throw one more thing out for you guys. I don't want to overly critique this page per se. We have some other things here. But our design's really important for readers wanting to come back. If you want readers to come back to your site regularly on their own, make your site so easy for people to just come to your site and just scroll down and see what's new, which I do like how we're doing the latest here. But I'm seeing more and more publications who aren't even bothering with featured stories. They're not even bothering with that. They're literally just putting up the latest stuff. Come to here, we'll show you the absolute latest stuff, and you just quickly can scroll through, see what you want. Seeing a lot of more publishers beginning to do that here. Okay. What I was going to say on the mobile. Challenge your staff. Throw a challenge out to your staff for 1 week. I don't care if this is the CEO on down to everybody in the editorial and advertising and production departments, everybody who's using your site. Have them use your website only on a mobile device for an entire week. Now, obviously, if you're posting content, you got to use the back-end tools. But if you're going to look at your site and look at content and browse your site, I challenge you, have your entire team look at your site only on a mobile device for an entire week. You will be amazed at the things you begin to see and go, ooh, we really should improve that. Okay, I'm going to go into one more little thing on here. I'm going to look at an actual article. Let's look at that article here, and let's go over to here and look at the same article on mobile. Oops, I clicked the. Okay, here we go. On mobile, on desktop. All right. So not bad, looking good here. Yep, nicely responsive. Have a sidebar. I'm becoming less and less of a fan of sidebar on these devices. When we've done heat map analysis, guys, the clicks on these stuff on the sidebar is just abysmal. It's because, again, most people, especially on consumer sites, are visiting on mobile devices, popping down to the bottom. Regardless, we've got some information here. Looks like the share information. The share box isn't showing up properly on mobile. Let me refresh that page, see if that's still loading. That may be why. There it is. Okay, just had to reload. Okay, so it's coming down in here. And again, I'd rather than putting an ad over here, I'd rather see a couple of 300 by 250s embedded here and then stacked over here, or a single 300 by 250 stacked over in here in the middle of the content. Great. We've got, keep going down here. We have a little call to action here. All right. I'd like to see that even bigger. I'll show you one site who I think does this well. Now, granted, it's a B2B site, but if you do like Construction Dive, this is the Industry Dive, folks. If you go to one of their articles, first of all, on Construction Dive, you'll see they've got email sign up here. They've got email sign up here with the embedded form, right? They've got other places for email sign up. Just look at a big long list of content. That's just all it is. Just long list of content. It works so well. And then they've got this big box down here at the bottom, which drives so much results. And if we go into an actual article, let's go into an actual article here. Same thing. We got email right there, email built up there, and then email right there. So I'd rather see this be even more overt, but that's neither here nor there. So then there's a 300 by 250 ad. See, look, the 300 by 250 ad works great on mobile. You just got to figure out the right places to put it. And then we've got tags. So I'm ambivalent on tags, to be blunt. They do not really help with SEO purposes that much, not at all. But if you're really doing a good job of tagging individual people, and you want to link back to an archive of that particular person, let's see, everything that's written about Herb Wesson, that's fine. That's great. There's no reason to do that. By the way, LA Mag, if you're watching this on Tag Div, go into your Yoast or Rank Math plugin and get rid of the tag quote Herb Wesson. You really don't need that. It actually doesn't help you from a SEO perspective either. And then they're using some built-in previous next articles related from the articles. This is one way to go. Another way to go is to think about the continuous scroll, where you see an article coming up and then the next article comes up, the URL changes, the next article. So people keep reading. When I see sites that use a continuous scroll versus a single page with like related articles, single page with related articles, I'll see page views per visit be in the 1.2 to 1.5 page views per visit on average, looking at Google Analytics. When I look at continuous scroll based sites and I continuous scroll, you'll see that page views per visit go up to 3-ish. So double. You want to double your page views overnight? Consider going to continuous scroll on this. Okay, so that's that. I don't want to get too deep into this. I want to take a look at, first of all, at a couple of other aspects about this site. So one of the things I want to go into is I looked at the magazine. So I was looking at their issue archive. I did notice that they have the full issue. ISSUU is who they're using out here. Now it could be that this is a special issue for Gay Pride month, whatever that may be, or Pride Month. That could be what this is for, and their other issues aren't out here. However, when I go over to issue, I can find every single issue that they publish. So for example, I can look at the July issue right here, and I can actually read the July issue in its entirety, go full screen, without having been a paid subscriber. Now, I am pleased to see that they didn't enable the download. That's good. But there's a lot of people here. Actually, you've got 247 people who are following you guys. Now, granted, it's Orange Coast, LA, and Pasadena, but they're following you just on issue alone. Again, that's one of the things that's kind of hard to charge for the stuff you give away for free. Now, there is one thing about city and regional magazines, actually even consumer enthusiast magazines in general. If they're done well and they have a nice production value, there's a lot of people, even younger people, who still want that physical magazine because it's just cool. They look nice, got great covers. I'll lay them out on my, the old coffee table magazine kind of concept. So I'm not saying you shouldn't do that and that is necessarily going to kill subscriptions. I am saying though, from your subscription development, whenever you give away your magazine for free, whether as a digital flip book or whether available as articles, all the articles on your website, right? And these guys are giving away a lot of content on your website. I did not see a paywall as I was going through this site. If there is a paywall, I apologize for missing it. If anybody out there knows, let me know. I have not seen a paywall. Most CRMA publications don't have paywalls. The exceptions to this I think are Philly and Boston have done a great job with this. But again, we're giving away so much to people for free. It's going to become harder and harder for you to charge for it. While we're on the line of the subscriptions, let's talk with audience development. Let's talk email audience development. As I'm going through the email audience development, so here's their homepage. Yes, I saw the pop-up. Love it. That's a great way to do it. But there's a newsletter sign up here. Awesome. I like that it's a little more prominent in the follow us area. That's good. Very nice, robust social media following. By the way, I'd be willing to bet, if I looked at your Google Analytics, that even though you have twice as many followers on Instagram and 5 times as many followers on Twitter, that Facebook alone is generating 5 times more traffic back to your website than Instagram and Twitter combined. I see that all the time, especially on consumer pubs, even CRMA type pubs. As we're going down here, looking at this, so the newsletter sign up, it's there, but it's not the focus. All right, I'm of the firm belief, let's go into an article here. Let's go into the Emma Chamberlain story. I'm a firm belief that the number one objective when you get someone to visit your website is to get them to give you that email address. Now, granted, you've got a nice big thing over here, but this looks like it's an embedded HubSpot form, but it's not overly compelling. I mean, there's better ways to do this, to make this the real drive. It should be, when I get to the end of the article, that should be the number one CTA. Now, granted, you've got it here, but as you're looking through the site, this is basically kind of a little throwaway area down here. I mean, people really, for the most part, ignore this. And if you look at heat maps, they really do ignore the sidebar. We'll go through a couple of other sites. I have a couple of ones that people recommended. We'll take a look at. We'll see how they do it. And I think you'll see some differences there. Again, not that this is necessarily bad. There's just some ways we could really improve this, because your whole objective is get people to your website, get them to become an email subscriber, and then get them to become a paid subscriber and then retain. That's your conversion funnel. Social media is kind of a separate path. But even there, I would say your number one goal for social media is to get them to become an email subscriber. Once you get them to become an email subscriber, those are your most passionate readers. I don't care if you're a controlled circ or paid circ, those are your most passionate readers, and those are the easiest people to convert into actual subscribers. Okay, look at that. I'm gonna look at a few technical things here now. So I ran a page speed insights here. Oh, my core website, my core web vitals failed. Well, that's not good. But we'll look down through here. You got to also remember this is from Google, page speed insights here. What they're doing when we ran LA Mag here is, it's just saying that your web vitals assessment actually failed, not that the test failed. Sorry. Ranking 12 on a mobile device, ranking of 41 on desktop. Let's talk about that. And again, remember, probably 2/3 of your audience for a consumer site are coming in through mobile. So as we're doing that, let's take a look here. First, Contentful Paint. This is the biggest chunk of content on your site, is coming in at 6.9 seconds. By the way, I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm actually going to take an actual article. If you're doing a page speeds, take a look at your articles. Take a look at your actual articles. It's a better way to do it. A little side note thing. I want to go on the slug here. I know what editors do, production people do. They're just literally putting in this. They put this as a title, and they never go through and they never edit the slug, which is this little section here. This, way too long, way too long. This should just be Emma-Chamberlain-returns to YouTube. Boom. That's it. That's the only things that you need to know, because those are the keywords. Beloved L-A-influencer actually, when you have URLs that are too long, it actually begins to work against you from an end user perspective, even looking at you on search. Okay, little side note. All right, so let's take a look at this. 7 seconds for the biggest content area, the actual content itself, to paint. All right, that's not bad per se. I like to see that be 5 seconds or less. Google actually recommends if you want to get in the green, it's like 3 seconds or less. So cumulative layout shift is not bad. If you don't know what cumulative layout shift, that's when you open up a site and you'll see something, and as other elements load, the page starts moving down. That's called cumulative layout shift. So not too bad. Really, the biggest things here are your blocking times, your time to interactive. That's your biggest challenges that you got to work on here. Now, I don't have access to their Google Search Console. That's where we'd see most of this here. But there's a lot of JavaScript issues. I see JavaScript. I see like the Facebook tag being a huge issue. We won't go into all this. We had an SEO session a couple weeks ago. But there's a lot of things you could do to improve the overall speed of this site. This is looking good on cumulative layout shift. It really is more the overall speed of the site is a little slow. Let's look at a rich results test. So if you haven't seen the Google rich results test, I'm going to look at the schema data that was here. So I'm going to look at the schema data here, and I put in an article and ran it, and it's nice. It said, okay, hey, I found schema data for an article. So most likely they're running the Yoast or the Rank Math plugin on here. And let's take a look at the schema data, right? Here's your schema data. Let's take a look at the stuff here. I can actually look. Here's one thing here. I'm actually seeing 2 article of schema data. That's odd. If this is an article, you should only have schema data for the article listed once. But let's go into one of these. I can see it's an article. Here's the ID. It's linked to an author named Julius Miller. There is no URL to the author profile, however. That's something you might want to fix. Again, authors and author profiles are getting big from an SEO perspective. There's the ID. It's a web page. It's an organization. Okay, so your publisher, you guys have not set up your publisher schema data to be interrelated. So you can set up the schema data using Yoast or Rank Math on your site that says, this is who we are. We're Los Angeles Magazine. Here's our official logo. Here's our address. Here's our or a Facebook page. Here's our Twitter page. Here's our Instagram page. Right, here's our same as kind of thing. So might want to look at fixing that up a little bit. Then we can see that there's an image associated with this. Here's the image URL. There's the height and width of this particular story. So not bad. You've got schema data on here, but could certainly be improved significantly by eliminating the excess schema data and getting on that. All right, I want to take a look now at what do these things look like when they're shared on social media. So you've heard of SEO. This is SMO, social media optimization. So there's some great tools out there. One's called the Facebook Debugger, which, by the way, itself needs debugging because it's not bringing up images. This page that we did, the Motley Crue story, actually is just fine. But if you want to, you go to the Facebook Debugger, you can put in any URL and you can see what does this look like when shared to social media. And the image is here, and you can see, here's the image. It's recognizing the image. I brought up the image. There is indeed the image. That is indeed Motley Crue. But for some reason, Facebook isn't recognizing it. So I ran through the Twitter version, which is called the Twitter Card Validator. And when you run through the Twitter Card Validator, you can see there's the image, there's the story, there's the description, there's the meta description. I haven't done a full SEO analysis of this, but there you go. That's what it looks like on Twitter. So there is something wrong with the sharing debugger right now. I noticed this with a few other client websites this morning, just a little FYI. Drew, I didn't see your question there. Drew asked a quick question. Can you drive people down the page with a button? I guess you can, but it depends on how big and how prominent the button is. But my biggest question is why? Why drive people down the page with a button? Why is the rest of the stuff in between not important? And if it's not important, why is it there at all? You need to figure out what you need to display on each kind of page and organize the page that way and get rid of the excess stuff. I find that the best publishers are actually the best at knowing what not to put on a page versus how much crap can we put on a page and how can we highlight everything? Because when everything's highlighted, then nothing gets highlighted. So I guess you can, Drew, but I would probably recommend that there's no reason to if you've got the right kinds of methodologies. All right, I took a look at Google News because Google News, Google Publisher Center, it was a whole session. Go to nearviewmedia.com, look at our blog. You'll see a whole session on Google Publisher Center. Is pretty important. Now, it looks like they do have some stories here. I see like a main entertainment and industry, arts and events, news and politics. What's interesting, though, is I'm seeing... So you guys may have a Google Publisher Center account, but it's really weird. Maybe you're bubbling things up, but like your main, I see the Emma Chamberlain 33 minutes ago, Motley Crue. Okay, maybe you are doing it here. So let's see, like we got Tamron Hall, Motley Crue, Master Q, and Attorney General. Let's see, 4 days ago, 26 minutes ago, so there's an Attorney General yesterday. It doesn't seem like all your content's being pushed out here into Google News, through Google Publisher Center. So I would definitely check your Google Publisher Center setup and make sure that's right. I have some publications that actually get as much traffic from Google News, Google Discover, as they do from Google Search. on their website. So definitely want to check that out. One other thing I want to go through here quickly is I check the RSS feed because I always like to check the RSS feeds. What RSS? That's so 1990s. Yeah, it is, but it's still in use today. And if you use Google Publisher Center, it goes off RSS feeds. But a couple things I noticed on here. One, again, let me refresh. I put the feed into a great tool called Feedly. Helps me kind of see what it looks like. So this is Los Angeles Magazine. Los Angeles Magazine, you have 1,000 people following you here on Feedly alone. 1,000 people. And so we're seeing different stories coming out here. I'm seeing some blank images. Not sure what that is here. But as I'm going in, I wanted to check this. Here's your depth child. Here it is. Interesting. Gang, you have your entire content being pushed out via your RSS feed. You don't want to do that. You only want to have a synopsis of your story. You do not want the entire article. So fix your RSS feeds. I actually have a whole, I hate to do this, but these are the things I look for. One of my very first high value publishing sessions was don't give your content away for free. Check your RSS feed. Check out this story. Go read this. Watch this. This is important. When we're giving away the RSS, I could follow Los Angeles Magazine right here on Feedly or via any other RSS reader. Anybody can grab all your content very easily through your RSS feed in a nice structured data format and post it wherever they want. Or I could just follow you here, read it, share it, do all this, and you're not making jack squat on advertising. You're not driving people into an email subscription. Well, you are with this. You're not driving people into a paid subscription. You don't even know because you don't have Google Analytics on it that people are watching this. Fix your RSS feed. Fix your RSS feed. Fix your RSS feed. Very important. So that's absolutely critical on that as well. Let's talk subscription for a second, and then we're going to probably not do the other site because I didn't realize how long these were going to take. So we'll do the other site, a B2B trade site, our next session when we do this. But subscribe to Los Angeles Magazine, not bad. I'm going to go here and go to mobile as well. Let's go to our subscribe here. We'll have a whole separate section on kind of subscription, but I just want to briefly look at this. Okay, new gift, renew subscription. Okay, that's awesome. One of the things that I do when I get to subscribe pages, get rid of navigation, get rid of ads. There's no need to distract people. You're trying to close a sale right now. Stop distracting people with other things. All this stuff should go away and it should just be the subscription information. All right, change of address. Okay, new subscription. Get people in. This actually looks like you're using WooCommerce. If you are using WooCommerce, Woo subscription, Woo memberships, that's awesome. I'm a big fan of that. But I would first of all, always do auto renew, credit card only. And then I would also make this so that it's single page checkout. Always single page checkout. I'll show you one here if I go to mbj.com, Midlands Business Journal, mbj.com. If you go to their subscribe page, this is also using WooCommerce, Woo membership, Woo subscription. But take a look at this. It's very clear what you're supposed to do. The value proposition is right there. You choose which version you want. There is no 1 year, 2 year, 3 year because it's credit card auto renew only. Notice that we're allowing, it recognizes I'm on Chrome, so it's going to offer Google Pay if I'm on Safari, Apple's Apple Pay, one-click payment if you're on mobile. There's just a lot of ways that we could really significantly improve the conversion rates for your paid subscriptions on this site. That's it, guys. I realize we're getting a little bit late here. There's a lot more we could dive into. LA Mag, you're doing a lot of things right. You are doing a lot of things right. There's a lot of things that could be improved here. And so hopefully this helps a little bit. Hopefully it helps all of us. a little bit to see what's going well and what we can learn from. Again, if you've got a site you'd like me to analyze and kind of do an on-the-fly analysis like this, fire it over to me. I love this kind of stuff. I love looking at this. And I know there's all kinds of different business reasons that I'm unaware of. So this is just a cursory overview. Hopefully this does help. But fire those sites over. I'd like to do a mix. Some city and regional sites, maybe a B2B trade magazine, maybe a consumer enthusiast hobbyist site. I'm going to do a mix of different sites with different objectives, but you're going to find a lot of the same fundamentals are there. So anyway, that's it again. I hope this was helpful to you. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. We'll talk to you soon.